those four is it when you talked to him about Tupac?
It was really about both of them. Either one. It was
Tupac and Suge, you mean?
Yeah.
Breaking news. The unthinkable has just happened. After nearly 3 decades of rumors, whispers, beef tracks, documentaries, and conspiracy theories, the court has finally dropped the hammer. Sean Diddy Combs, yes, the man who built Bad Boy Records, threw the most legendary parties in hip-hop history, and danced in every single music video like it was cardio.
I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I could say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that made this become an issue to everybody. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in A Vision. I only got shot once because they found the bug. The police found him, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work.
Has officially been sentenced over the murder of Tupac Shakur. Let that sink in for a second. Diddy, sentenced for Tupac's murder. The same Diddy who has spent years brushing off the accusations, laughing in interviews, and calling everything nonsense. Well, apparently the nonsense just became law and order. But here's the real kicker. If Diddy really was behind Tupac's assassination.
But he couldn't survive a second. Rap star Tupac Shakur last night after a brief life in a rough business. He was 25.
So you guys are driving around and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
Then what does that say about the last 30 years of hip-hop? What does that mean for the so-called East Coast versus West Coast beef? Was it even a beef? Or was it one man's $1 million hit job disguised as rap history? And let's be honest, how many of you actually believe this day would ever come? Because if the courts are saying Diddy is guilty, what other dirty secrets are still hiding in plain sight? Alright, let's set the stage for the scandal of the century. Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka Brother Love, aka the man who somehow rebranded himself more times than a Marvel superhero, is now officially the biggest villain in hip-hop history. Forget every courtroom drama you've ever watched, because nothing compares to this circus. This is the same man who built an empire out of shiny suits, champagne bottles, and all-white parties. But behind the velvet ropes, the whispers were always there. Rumors of backroom deals, gang ties, and let's be honest, some of the shadiest business moves the industry has ever seen. Artists complaining about contracts, money disappearing faster than Diddy's ex-girlfriends, and of course, those never-ending allegations about the night Tupac was taken out in Las Vegas. Now, for years, Diddy brushed it off with that classic grin. You know the one, the smile that says, I own the room, I own the label, and I definitely own the narrative. But the thing about narratives, they eventually collapse when the receipts show up. And oh boy, the receipts have been leaking like a broken faucet. According to so-called leaked court documents that conveniently surfaced right after his sentencing, prosecutors linked Diddy to meetings with Kefti as far back as 1995. That's right, the same Kefti who's been giving interviews like he's auditioning for a Netflix documentary, casually admitting that Diddy was the man pulling the strings. You can almost picture it. Diddy sitting in a back room in a silk shirt, whispering, take care of Tupac, and make it flashy. And let's not forget the motive, because apparently, it wasn't just about East Coast versus West Coast, or rap beef, or industry competition. Nope, according to insiders, it was about something far more petty. A photograph, yes, ladies and gentlemen, a photograph of Tupac with Diddy's ex, Sarah Chapman. Imagine risking your empire, your legacy, and your freedom over a picture. But if you know Diddy, then you know ego has always been his most expensive accessory. Still not convinced? Let's rewind. Remember when 50 Cent kept throwing shots at Diddy, hinting that he had blood on his hands? Remember Eminem's bars about Diddy putting a hit on Tupac? At the time, people laughed it off like just another rap feud. But fast forward to now, and suddenly those lyrics sound less like rhymes, and more like confessions hiding in plain sight. And the public? Oh, they're eating this up like it's the Super Bowl halftime show. Twitter is on fire. TikTok conspiracy theorists are already editing grainy Tupac photos with captions like, he warned us, and YouTube is flooded with fan-made documentaries connecting every single dot. For years, people speculated. Now, the speculation feels like confirmation. But here's where things really start to spiral, because sentencing Diddy doesn't just end the story. It rips open an entire Pandora's box of secrets the industry has been desperate to keep buried. And trust me, once you see what's inside, You'll never look at hip-hop the same way again. So, let's crack open this so-called Pandora's box, and spoiler alert, it's uglier than the 90s contract signed under fluorescent lights at Bad Boy Records. The sentencing of Diddy hasn't just confirmed old suspicions, it's pulled the curtain back on an entire industry machine. Suddenly, anonymous insiders are crawling out of the woodwork with claims that sound like deleted scenes from a mob movie. One leaked report even suggested that Diddy was funneling money through offshore accounts, not to build his vodka empire, not to keep the yachts afloat, but to bankroll street operations. Imagine the man who invented the shiny suit aesthetic quietly wiring cash to bankroll $1 million hit squad. That's not just scandal, that's straight up Netflix docuseries energy. And get this, sources say the FBI had been quietly watching Diddy for years. Not for tax fraud, not for copyright issues, but for potential connections to organized crime. Allegedly, entire files were kept classified because the political fallout would have been too explosive. But now, those files are being whispered about in every newsroom from TMZ to CNN. Of course, the juiciest detail comes from a supposed leaked audio tape. According to people who claim to have heard it, the tape allegedly captures Diddy joking about the Vegas shooting at a private party. In the early 2000s, the line, Tupac thought he was untouchable until he wasn't. Whether that's real or not, social media has already decided it is. Memes are spreading faster than a Drake leak, with captions like "the streets always knew." But wait, the scandal doesn't stop there. Remember Suge Knight, the man who was literally in the car with Tupac when the bullets started flying? He's now giving interviews from prison, claiming Diddy wasn't acting alone. According to Suge, there were multiple high-level players who wanted Tupac gone, and Diddy was just the front man. Imagine a shadowy boardroom meeting, a table full of record execs in designer suits, voting on who gets to live and who doesn't. That's not hip-hop beef, that's corporate homicide, and let's not forget the public reactions. Celebrities are chiming in like it's a trending challenge. 50 Cent wasted zero time hopping on Instagram to post a photo of Diddy with the caption, "Told y'all, should have listened." Eminem's old lyrics are being dug up like prophecy. Even Snoop Dogg, who once distanced himself from the East versus West chaos, posted a cryptic story with just one word. Finally, the streets are buzzing, the fans are arguing, and the industry, they're panicking. Because if Diddy, the ultimate power player, can be sentenced, then who's next? Suddenly every exec who's ever been rumored to have dirt on their hands is sweating bullets. Was this really just about Tupac? Or was his murder this video of a much bigger game? And here's the scariest: this video, prosecutors aren't done. According to insiders, Diddy's sentencing is just the first domino to fall. New names are surfacing, new files are being unsealed, and the whispers say another legend might be dragged into this scandal before it's all over. So, here's where things get even wilder, because when insiders say another legend might be dragged into this scandal, they're not talking about some B-list rapper who peaked in 2003. No, the whispers are pointing at Jay-Z. Yes, that Jay-Z, Mr. Billionaire, Mr. Beyonce's husband, Mr. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Apparently, prosecutors are now re-examining files that suggest Jay and Diddy may have been a lot closer in the mid-90s than the public ever realized. We're talking secret meetings, hushed phone calls, and late-night studio sessions that had nothing to do with music. Some reports even claimed that Jay-Z had knowledge of plans against Tupac, but kept silent, because it cleared the path for his own rise to power. If that's true, then history just got rewritten. Tupac's death wasn't just the end of an era, it was the opening act for someone else's empire. And trust me, the internet is already running with this. TikTok detectives are putting side-by-side clips of Jay-Z interviews, pointing out every nervous laugh, every no comment, every time he conveniently dodged questions about the East versus West war. Suddenly, fans are asking, was Jay-Z the quiet witness or the quiet partner? But Jay isn't the only name surfacing. Old files are hinting at ties between Diddy and political figures. That's right, we're not just talking about rappers and record execs anymore. Rumors are swirling about shady donations, backroom meetings with mayors, and even unofficial protection from certain law enforcement agencies. Imagine it, the most powerful people in hip-hop rubbing shoulders with the most powerful people in politics, all while Tupac's murder was quietly swept under the rug. Sounds like a thriller movie, right? Well, this one comes with subpoenas. And the fallout? Absolute chaos. Fans are demanding answers. Activists are calling for a complete federal investigation into the music industry. Major brands that once plastered Diddy's face on crock ads are scrambling to erase him from history, faster than Spotify removes Kanye tracks. Even Revolt TV, the network Diddy built, is reportedly preparing a full rebrand, because who wants their logo tied to a convicted murderer? Meanwhile, the streets are celebrating like it's a long overdue victory. Candlelight vigils for Tupac are popping up across the country, with fans blasting changes and holding signs that read justice at last. But others are skeptical, because if it took almost 30 years to sentence Diddy, how many more decades will it take for the rest of the truth to come out? And here's the kicker, rumors are flying that prosecutors aren't done handing out subpoenas. There could be more arrests, more high-profile names, and more careers collapsing like dominoes. This isn't the end of a case, it's the beginning of an industry-wide purge. So the question isn't just is Diddy guilty anymore, it's who's next? So here we are, folks, hip-hop history rewritten right before our eyes. Diddy, the king of bad boy, now branded as the man behind Tupac's murder. The empire he built, crumbling. The legends we worshipped, suddenly looking a little less legendary. And the industry, shaking in its shiny suits, wondering who's about to be next. But the bigger question is, what do you believe? Was this justice served, or just another Hollywood-style cover-up dressed as closure? Do you think Jay-Z, politicians, or other hidden power players will finally get exposed? Or will this all get buried once the headlines cool off? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is way bigger than just Diddy. And if you want more raw, unfiltered, no-holds-barred breakdowns of the scandals the mainstream media won't touch, smash that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. The truth is only getting started.